Hey, my name is Bex. Recently, snapshots for the Minecraft update 1.21 have started coming out, and they featured a lot of new copper and tuff based blocks. Now this is amazing for building, and I have no notes, especially with the redstone functionality. But the community has at large been saying that now is a perfect time to add the Copper Golem and the Tuff Golem from previous losing mob votes. And as much as I agree that thematically they might fit into the update, I still don't think that they will or even should be added. Now, as always, I'm going to be taking this from a game design perspective because that's what I do on this channel, is I study Minecraft game design. So without further ado, let's get started and talk about why I don't think that these mobs are going to be added. So for the Copper Golem. The Copper Golem was pitched as a small robot-like mob that would randomly press copper buttons that were near it. The golem would oxidize, and that oxidization could be removed with an axe, and at full oxidization it would turn into a still statue. Now why wouldn't this be added? Well, when you look at the Copper Golem from a functional perspective, it's just a randomizer. Not only that, it's a randomizer that doesn't work in lazy chunks, and that takes up more space than any redstone alternative. Because it's based on an entity, it has an AI and NBT tags that the game has to process, which is laggier than just processing analog redstone randomizers, which don't have any of the issues that the Copper Golem has. Even a redstone randomizer that slows down over time like the Copper Golem would takes up less space and is less laggy than the Copper Golem would be. Not only that, but you'd need to build an enclosure for the Copper Golem, and that would restrict it to 2 planes of movement, whereas redstone randomizers can realistically give an output in any direction you want them to. Plus, we're already getting a mob that's not a player, which interacts with blocks such as buttons, levers, and trapdoors. The Breeze. So if that functionality either already exists in the game or is being added through a different mob, then why should the developers spend more time adding the Copper Golem? Now what about the Tuff Golem? The Tuff Golem was a statue that would have displayed an item, and then when activated somehow by a player, it would get up and move around while holding the item, or it would pick up an item if it wasn't already holding one. And then before turning back into a statue, it would have returned to the original spot that the player placed it. Now there are 2 possible uses to this mob, and they're both kinda pointless. Well, if it's an item display, then we already have those in the form of item frames and armor stands. The Copper Golem is gonna be laggier than either of the previous options because it has AI and has more NBT than item frames or armor stands. It will likely be clunky and difficult to position it the way you want it to, as it'll likely be an entity that moves off grid. Or if it moves on grid, then you won't be able to center them between blocks like you are with an armor stand. Okay, well, what about its use as an item collector? Yeah, we kinda already have that with the LA. Even if we want more variety in mobs that can collect items, the LA can fly and are faster, so the golems would be underutilized in comparison. Again, these golems would be restricted to 2 dimensions of movement, whereas the LA can freely move in all 3. And even if you're just using them to cut down on hoppers, you'd need so many golems that it would lag the same amount as just using hoppers or minecarts, and it could possibly be so slow that you worry about your items despawning. Now I know that there is a very obvious argument for adding these into the game, and I know that a lot of people are going to make that comment before actually making it to this point in the video. And that point is that, well, they'd be perfect for this update. Look at all the Copper and Tuff blocks that just got added. It would make perfect sense to add the Copper and Tuff Golems. Yeah, they might be, quote, perfect for this update, but So would a lot of things, actually. I understand that thematically these mobs fit with the trial chambers specifically, but the Mojang team needs to focus on adding a variety of features to this update and not just this one new structure. Having a game that feels complete relies on every feature being fleshed out, and for as much as the community at large complains about having certain areas of the game feel unfinished or empty, I don't think it's in Mojang's best interest to only add one thing and not update anything else about the game. It's difficult to add other things though if you're focused on adding those two mobs that lost a community vote, especially when one of those mobs lost by almost 83%. Other areas of the game need maintenance and new features as well. If they allocate time to adding these golems, then they have less time to work on adding armadillos and dog armor and the breeze. Not to mention that there are a bunch of features that the player doesn't immediately see, like optimizations, datapack and command changes, and bug fixes. This isn't Mojang being lazy either. It's them setting and maintaining realistic goals and workloads so that their team isn't being overworked. Mojang might be owned by Microsoft, but Mojang does not have the resources of Microsoft, not even close. Microsoft might have your millions of employees, but Mojang only has a few thousand at most. That may sound like a lot, but only a fraction of those employees work on Minecraft the game, and only a fraction of those are developers, and an even smaller fraction of those are developers that regularly have any meaningful say in what actually gets added into the game. If you've ever done a group project in school, you know how rough it can be to coordinate 3 to 5 people who all have different workflows and different methods of doing things. Now, imagine doing that for a few hundred people, and the assignment is creating the most popular video game in the world. Suddenly, the assignment seems a bit less easy. So, with that all being said, that was just a quick little video talking head rant thing about why I personally think the Copper and Tuff Golems won't be added into this update, why I don't think Mojang's going to add them. As much as I agree they would be a cool addition, and I'm not really gonna complain about any addition to Minecraft, I don't think that this is one that you should get your hopes up about, but I do think that you should get your hopes up about the other insanely cool additions that are being added in this update, such as the new redstone blocks, the trial chambers themselves, and the possibility that those alone bring with them, along with the other features that are inevitably going to be announced throughout the Snapshot cycle. So that being said, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed or agreed with anything I said. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let me know what mob vote loser you want me to talk about next, because I kind of enjoyed making this video, I can't lie. Like, scripting this and recording it was pretty fun. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Bex, and I'm out. See you next time.